Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Collateral Nation. So excited to have Kevin back permanently with us. We're not going to go through any more big bypasses, Kevin. Your legs are healthy now, your heart is healthy,
Yeah,
and he's ready to get back into
now.
the swing of things and start training for a marathon.
Correct.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, he had a big quadruple heart bypass the other day, and the other day, a few weeks ago, and
6 weeks
he's back ready to start training again. Are you already starting to train?
working out the distance on the walking, doing some minor weightlifting, but you have to pace it very carefully.
Yeah.
My pulse is slowly drifting down from the 80s to the 70s. So, yeah, I seem to be on track. After 6 weeks, that's not bad.
But you said what has really helped you is doing the P.A.D. 100 every single day while you were in the hospital, not letting any dust settle underneath your feet. You were continuing to build those collaterals in your calf and your foot.
Yeah, I did them multiple times a day, and whenever there's any chance of me getting out of the bed, I would do it before I moved, and that helped a lot with balance. So yeah, it just works. That's all there is. That's all I can really say about it. And if you're lying on your back doing it, it exercises your whole legs and your hips. So yeah, really important not to give in to the hospital bed, which is
Yeah.
it's a kind of living death waiting to invite you in.
I was going to, what do you think? I was going to just play it. I don't know if Carrie, who's here, I know Douglas and Mike and others have seen it, but I don't know if Carrie's seen and she's here in our live studio audience for the first time for Collateral Nation. I don't know if you've seen the P.A.D. 100, Carrie. Have you heard about that yet? No. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out again how to share my screen, and I can
I muted
share.
it myself because I wasn't sure if it was noisy with the treadmill. So
Not any
yeah.
noisier than mine.
Okay, good.
So here, I'll play the
real trick to the P.A.D. 100 is you have to do it right. You have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand that you're turning your feet into remote blood pumping stations by spreading your feet to allow new blood to flow in, and then by contracting the muscles in your feet to drive that blood out, and then you spread your toes and your metatarsals in order that the fresh blood can flow in. You need to understand that, and that's explained in these videos and books. So that's
Okay.
Yeah, let me play it really quick.
Hi, Kevin Thomas Morgan here again. Kind of crazy guy who's working to fight peripheral arterial disease, or PAD. And this brief video is based on something I learned in Pilates called the Pilates 100, which really kicks your butt. It actually kicks your core, makes your core really strong.
Exhale, scooping the belly to lift the head, bringing the ribs towards the hips.
And I thought, can I apply that thinking to peripheral arterial disease and my remote foot pumping method? It pumps blood through my feet by contracting and extending my feet in a rhythmical manner, which I do as an exercise, and I described that already. And you can see here it's compared to the action of a diaphragm pump, where I coordinated my feet with the pump. Anyway, I thought, why not set up a P.A.D. 100? So that's what I filmed this morning, and I thought it might be good to run the full 100, and if you are so inclined, you could do them with me. I mean, I already ran them earlier today. I do it in bed when I wake up. Try not to disturb people and dogs. Anyway, when I wake up in the morning with PAD, the bottoms or soles of my feet feel a little numb, like they're not getting enough blood. Every morning it feels like that, and that's probably true because your collaterals will slowly close up. They're not meant to be there, right? Anyway, if I run my PAD 100, my feet get all warm, the bottoms of my feet feel great. And what I'm doing is I'm training myself or strengthening my muscles in my calves and my feet to handle this process for extended periods of time as I walk and run. So that is what I am going to show you now. And if you want, you can do it along with me and see how you do. Remember, when your toes are spread, blood's flowing into your feet. When you contract your toes, you're pumping the blood out of your feet. So you can do it this way, but better still is to do it alternately as you're going to do when you walk, like this. And so now I'm going to do what I call the P.A.D. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Yep. So that is the P.A.D. 100.
Okay.
Looks pretty easy to do, right, Carrie?
I was trying to do it while I was walking, and I was just going off balance.
No, the trick when you're walking, I describe the details of how to incorporate it into walking and even running. It's quite an art and it's quite difficult, but when you get it right, it really works. I mean, it really,
Okay.
I use it all the time now. I've been at this like 3 years, with that particular movement. I've been fighting PAD since 2014. So I guess that's what, 11, 12 years. And there's no sign of me having reduced blood flow in my feet, even though my popliteal artery on the right is 100% blocked. And so by converting your feet to pumps, but first you have to make sure you grow collaterals. You got to get the blood down there through new vessels. And then you combine that with this technique, which also involves no tube socks, a wide toe box. And so you get that, you start realizing you can actually use your feet to save your feet. And it truly works. Yeah, but it takes a little while to master while you're walking. And it's a kind of a very smooth, gentle process. It's not, people would call it grabbing the ground, but you do actually grip the ground. And I've noticed it dramatically improves my balance because my feet are now very, very actively involved in my balance. So you're basically waking up your feet. Finally, we're waking up our feet because they get neglected horribly in shoes. So that's it. But all those are present on videos on YouTube. So
Yep,
Great.
youtube.com/the outside fit old dog. And also he has a newsletter, which Carrie, I think you'd enjoy, inspirationalselfhelpbooks.com. It's a really long URL, but definitely find some inspiration there and a lot of great information. And especially
Cool.
now he's taken us on a journey as he, goes back to training for an Ironman, half Ironman triathlon. It's a triathlon, right, Kevin?
yeah, I want to get back into triathlons. Whether I get to full distance again, that's going to be difficult to do to meet the time cutoffs. But I think I can get back to half now with better blood flow to my heart. My cardiovascular problem I expected. I mean, because I got a dyslipidemia, a severe dyslipidemia. Triglycerides are really high. HDL was low. So I fixed that with training. It is not cholesterol. I do not need statins. I don't know why they still push them at me. Huge mistake, but let's not get into that pharmacology
Kevin,
war of mine.
You're going to love a doctor that we have, Dr. Hannah Matthew. She is coming on today live, 2 p.m. Eastern time. She's in London, and you're not going to believe what she has to say about statins. She's the one I tagged you in her Facebook post, in her LinkedIn post.
Yeah, she's a fellow thinker.
Yep, she thinks outside the box. So it'll be interesting to see how she thinks outside the box. She's an internal medicine doctor that treats every patient as if they're an individual. And she, always questions standard protocols.
One thing I have heard, and this they also pushed at me in the hospital and I rejected it. For people who really need, because they have very high cholesterol, and the statins actually bring their cholesterol down. I mean, it inhibits HMG-CoA reductase, so you'd expect that. For people with genetic hypercholesterolemia, the use of statins are good, but they can cause a lot of damage to muscles. And I've heard several people say they substituted Repatha, which is a totally different drug.
Totally different, yeah.
And it's been much better. They're getting the cholesterol response, but they're not getting the muscle pain and stuff like that. The only trouble is, I believe it's expensive, but I don't want
Yeah.
to take it.
Yeah. You know, it's an individual choice. But Douglas just put in the chat that he said he does your P.A.D 100, but sometimes he loses count and does 200 or 300, right, Douglas? They feel pretty good. What do they feel like as you're doing them, Douglas?
For me, when I do it in the morning, when I get up, it's like it starts the day off. It really starts the day off with me being aware of how I walk and being conscious of that throughout the day.
And I know that's something that Mike, it got your legs going. You've even walked at 13K.
Yeah, I was just going to say, once you've started them, please don't stop. I took a break quite a lot from a lot of things while I've been away, and ever since being back, I tried those P.A.D 100 again on Monday. I got to about 60 or 70, and the ache in my feet was just like crazy. I did get to the 100, but it was a little bit of a task. But I think Monday was a big task for me anyway, in a lot of ways. I got the claudication pain again, which was really uncomfortable, because I didn't do any running intervals or inclines while I was in the UK. I did the treadmill every day, but I didn't push myself like I normally do when I'm at home. And I had a really intense workout on Monday, and boy, did I feel the claudication pain. Oh yeah.
Not just that day, not just the next day, but then you had really that second day beyond sores.
Yeah. I've done it again today though. I've done my workout today, and it's actually not been too bad. So I'm hoping that my collaterals have woken back up again.
So you didn't do the P.A.D 100 while you were laying in bed when
Not
you
this
traveled?
No, not while I was away. No. I was that busy while I was back home. I was just like, once I woke up, I was just straight out of bed and doing things all day. So yeah, I had a break on it all.
So taking
lesson learned. A
Go
lesson
ahead,
learned.
Think about the whole point is saving life and limbs. So if I'm watching TV for an hour, why not take my shoes and socks off and do some exercise for that hour? If I'm driving 2 hours down the road, I catch myself pulling my shoes off and doing it while I hit cruise control. So this is one of the things you could do all day long at any place. It's strange sitting in a doctor's office, pulling my shoes off and having people in the doctor's office look at me while I'm moving my feet like that. But it's one of the things we can do anywhere at any time. And how important is that in saving our legs?
Yeah, I even do his little, just gripping underneath my shoes. So I have wide toe boxes so I can actually bring them under and just lightly claw at the bottom of my shoes when I'm just sitting there. Or I'll go up on my tippy toes and back down, up on my tippy toes and back down.
Yeah, and every now and then, remember yoga toes? Your feet will start to tighten. So every now and then, do that stretch exercise with yoga toes. It's the same as stretching in the gym after weight training. It's the same. And it especially protects the little toe and the one next to it. And so I was really pleased yesterday when a friend of mine came by. I mentioned this offline. He was starting to have tingling in his feet. He's in his late 70s, a fellow pathologist, a guy I've known for years, Jeff. And I said, well, let me have a look at your feet. So take your shoes off. He was like a little bit taken aback. I said,
I know, because you're a veterinarian. He was like,
he is
treating me like an animal, my friend.
Yeah, and so he took his shoes off, and he had the tightest tube socks you ever saw. So I said,
no.
You can take those socks off and throw them in the trash. You need to get wide, loose socks. Wool is best because it will stretch and not compress your feet. and find socks that don't compress your feet. Because I mean, if you've got socks on all day and they are compressing you with 1/10 of a Newton, it doesn't matter how much pressure, it's there all day. Even with
Yeah.
a broad toe box with tube socks on, you're still getting the damage from compression. So I explained to him using yoga toes, because his little toe and his one next to it was really, really tight together. He couldn't spread them at all. So I showed him how to use yoga toes. He struggled getting my yoga toes on. And I said, you need to get some. And later that day, he sent me a picture of him with a pair of yoga
Yoga.
toes he managed to get on. So I got through, and that was good. And this could totally change his life. There's no doubt.
Yeah, Carrie, you'll love yoga toes. I don't know if you've heard of them. When you go to get a pedicure, they put the little
Oh,
things in between your toes, and
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
actually
yeah.
get them, the little rubbery things, get them online. You would love it after a workout. Oh my gosh, put them on, stretch your toes while you're sitting there, and it feels so good.
Yeah, and the video
Okay,
to
well, I know
watch,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
the video to watch is the one that I filmed with Rebecca Amos Lawson, a body movement teacher. It's in the P.A.D. playlist on my YouTube channel. It's one of the earliest videos, I think, but it's the most, if you look by popularity, it's got like 25 more thousand hits, something like that. And she shows you how to use yoga toes, how to move your feet. And she is really a great body movement teacher. So that's one of the videos in the P.A.D. playlist.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in chat. Maybe Kevin, I mean, Josh, would you mind putting it on YouTube for those that are watching on YouTube? I just put that on there, and I could even, do you want me to share the screen for a second, Kevin? And so you can see, or
Sure.
Carrie, do you want to see it?
Yeah, it's one with so an introduction to yoga toes or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I made it with Rebecca years ago. I did the filming and editing, and she did the narration and the demonstration. Yeah, there it is. There's Rebecca. Great dance teacher. Shows you how to move your feet, how to use those yoga toes, and those are my favorite kind that I use. I only have one now because the dog chewed the other one up, but that's okay.
As long
So
as you're
that
not chewing on your toes, that's fine.
that video is really worth watching. Rebecca helped me a lot with body movement. She co-authored a couple of my books, and she improved my posture dramatically, which is really important later in life. So yeah, that one's worth watching, definitely.
Yeah, look at that. And she's even massaging. She's doing a little massage of her toes as well. A little
Yeah.
manipulation.
She ran a dance group in New York for a long time and then came to North
Okay.
Carolina.
Oh, that would make sense, especially ballerinas.
Yeah, she was into modern dance.
Yeah, doing the foot massage is really, really important. And she's talking about separating the toes, the importance of separating the toes. And now she'll put on the yoga toes. And when you have the yoga toes on, Kevin, I don't know if I should fast forward to in the video. I think you show just some of the exercises where you're kind of going down and up, out and in.
Yeah, you wiggle your feet around and you can see how she's doing that. You don't wear them for
Okay.
walking around. People think, oh, should I wear them walking around? No, no, this is just a stretch. I mean, you do a stretch in the gym for your quads or your hamstrings. You don't walk around doing that. This is actually spreading your toes, which spreads your metatarsals, and that is the bottom line. Because when you spread those metatarsals, there are actually small arteries that go down between the long bones in your feet, and
Yeah.
so it frees up that space for fresh blood to flow in, which is why on the P.A.D. 100, walking or running or stationary, when you take your feet off the ground after driving the blood out with the muscles in your feet, you then spread your toes to let fresh blood flow in, and that's how the pumping action occurs. Sure works anyway. It was just based on basic anatomy and physiology. I mean, that's my background.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I just shared that in the chat so you can grab it. And it's also, it's on YouTube. So even just go to his YouTube channel and subscribe at Fit Old Dog. And there's those videos and more. And one of the things that I found on his website, and we've talked about it here, is just how to walk effectively. And we've talked about how I have ended up with knee pain and hip cramps just because I'm not walking right. And you need to walk with your whole body, for one. And he talks about it on his YouTube channel. But number two, which I like, is you spread your toes. You do the almost the P.A.D. 100, and he teaches you how to adapt it to walking. And that literally makes all the difference in the world when you're spreading your toes as you're walking. And there's a rhythm to it, how you spread your toes and you bring them back in, but it's not squishing, right?
Yeah, it's very gentle. It's like your feet are talking to the ground, gently gripping the ground, and then letting go and spreading to let fresh blood in, and then back down on the ground. And then
Yep.
you kind of, it's a conversation with the ground. I mean, it's
Oh,
like
I like that.
stretching isn't something you do to your body. Stretching is the conversation you have with your body. And so those kind of thoughts totally transform the relationship between you, your body, and the ground. I mean, the fact this works is I started developing P.A.D. in 2014, and not to boast because there's nothing really to boast about. In 2023, I was third in the World Half Ironman Championships in Finland with severe P.A.D. 7 people in my age group, 80 to 84, qualified. Only 3 of us managed to finish. I came in last of 4,000 athletes, but I finished. I got recognized for finishing, I guess. The one thing they didn't do was save any pizza for me, which was very disappointing.
Josh, our producer, I don't think he's ever jumped in. That was him. He's laughing. That's awesome.
That
Thank you,
happens to
Josh.
me all the time on bike rides.
Oh, I needed that.
So you bike race?
Yeah, I mostly cycle, yes.
And you do
And
races or what?
pardon me?
Do you do races or you just do it for
No,
fun?
I don't like racing, but I like to ride fast as fast as I can.
Yeah,
So I ride, group riding and that kind of thing.
yeah, I know. But the thing about cycling is I've done a lot of competitive cycling. It's pain control, actually, if you're trying to stay with the group. It's quite interesting and very, very technical. I've trained quite a few people, to ride a bike. I mean, it took me a long time to really learn it, and I had some great coaches. But it's an incredible sport. It's really complicated, and it's amazing. Like the roll of the hips. If you're going uphill, your hips are really important. And I don't know. I would teach people how to take corners and stuff like that because I've been trained by coaches. Great sport. It really is.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't really trigger claudication unless you're doing a heavy hill climb. That's my experience.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's only time that I ever have any pain with my calf is if I am like on a hill and trying to do like a quick out of the saddle burst.
Yeah.
I'll get like a cramp in my leg, and so I just have to. I can't do that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, or you moderate your pace, or you get dropped by the peloton, which is always a pain because.
Well, right, but if I'm in a group, I can't just suddenly slow down because, of course, that's going to mess everything up. So
if you drop
I just have to.
It's funny how hard it is to catch up with the peloton because it's so much harder catching up. It's kind of weird. Anyway, it's good you do that because it's actually the funny thing is cyclists have big calves, and yet most of the time you don't really think about using your calves. It's really odd.
Well, that's kind of why I've always walked because I walk my dogs, but I haven't.
We love our doggies from us.
I haven't walked for like what I would call exercise. And so as I've been in the group, listening to some of this stuff, I realized I just got this treadmill because I need to do more walking and feel like I get some exercise out of it. And I can't do that outside, but this is great.
Can you do incline on your treadmill? Does it incline?
Yeah, so like right now I'm at 6. and three. So I just, it's, that's good. I can walk and talk and.
On the treadmill, I found that if I work with incline, it will work my hips and strengthen my hips. But if I up the pace, it has a tendency to trigger claudication in my calves.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I'll try that. I didn't want to try to be too fast while I'm talking, so I'm getting this whole treadmill thing figured out.
Well, you're doing good. You're steady.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're never going to have to change a doctor. You can stick with one you love because
I
you're
hope
willing to do
so.
the work.
Because
You're
I realized,
taking
like,
this-
they have been telling me maybe you cycle too much. I don't know about that, but I could see that I needed to walk.
Who tells you cycle too much?
That's what I say. They wonder if I could cycle too much. I mean, we don't know.
Well, if you have a bike that fits, I mean, you can ride all day.
Yeah, no, my bike fits. That's all good.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you're not building up scar tissue in your iliac artery and that groin. I think that's what they worry about the most because there is
and
an
I have a
there's an
friend that
actual
happened
blocking of-
to.
Yeah, you got.
He's a
Yeah, so you
triathlete.
understand.
Minimize hip.
And that's not. I don't have that problem. I'm just your basic femoral popliteal
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah.
The fem pop, but you
I'm
know,
a
they
dime
do
a
have
dozen.
they have a new minimally invasive bypass for fem pop now. It's
I was
called
reading
P.A.D.
about that because you posted
it's
it a
pretty
few
cool.
weeks ago.
And, it's always nice to know that there is that in the background. There are a lot of doctors that participated in the study that say it's not really for, if you don't have a landing zone in the knee, then you can't do it. But they're now going further into the tibial vessels below the knee just a little bit. And so they can get around blockages. The more advanced doctors who are doing a lot of these cases can actually, if you have some good arteries below the knee, they can tie back into a landing zone below the knee now.
Okay.
So it's exciting. Just to have options. Walking is still the most durable, but we did have a patient that we talked to who was the first patient ever for that device. And it was 15, almost going on 16 years ago, and he's never had another procedure.
Wow.
So, every individual, is different, but we always try and delay procedures as much as we can with maintaining options. But like in Kevin's case, he hasn't had any other procedures since he's really doubled down on his exercise program. And it seems like you're that same type, very active, willing to do what it takes, and you're truly training for P.A.D. And Kevin just offered a really great option, which I would love for you to take part in. He has an audiobook for his new training for P.A.D. Book that he wrote that's on Amazon. But he's offering, Kevin, you have a link, I think, to the audiobook. I would love to hear her feedback on it.
You can go to my website, Inspirational Self-Help Books, go to the tab for the audiobooks.
Okay.
And the one on the P.A.D. training plan, which took, a bit of thinking over years. You can download that one for free. And so it's an audiobook. It's easy to listen to. I'm really keen on people giving me feedback if there's things they didn't understand. And in the audiobook, I refer to videos that are worth watching for each chapter. There's once you get past the first initial introduction, there's 20 chapters, starting with the most important lesson of all is to let go of the past, use what you have and move on. Hanging on to the past is a huge mistake and it slows people down. I noticed that Wanda and Kimmy are here. Who's Wanda?
Yeah, hi, Wanda. I think Wanda's at work. I'm hoping that Wanda's doing some foot exercises underneath her desk. And I think she's still on mute.
We can't hear her. She just turned it off.
Oh, she did. We still can't hear you, Wanda, but we see you. And just give me a thumbs up if you're doing some foot exercises underneath your desk. Oh, she got the thumbs up.
I think that was a thumbs up.
Yep, that was a thumbs up. Good. I think we can't quite hear you, Wanda, so you'll have to put it in chat. We'll say hello to Kimmy as well.
Sorry,
I hope
Wanda,
Kimmy's
it's
doing.
broken up.
I know, so sorry, Wanda, but you can put it in. You can put it into the chat if you wanted to say something, and we'll relay the message. But I'm glad you're doing those foot exercises. Maybe Kimmy will say hello.
There's a
she
thumbs up.
Hi, Kimmy.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi. I'm hanging in here. I am.
Are you the Kimmy I'm texting with?
Yes.
Haha, yay.
Yeah.
We Kimmy's a warrior. She has aortoiliac and trying to do everything that she can. Right, Kimmy?
Yes, I'm actually in here cooking eggs and bacon right now, walking around the island. Trying.
Walking around and around. Are you spreading those toes?
Yep. Yep.
Spread those toes as you're walking. And he says, Kevin says, no tube socks. Make sure you don't have any tube socks.
No, I'm always barefoot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Our
no, that's the way
podiatrist
to
in the
go.
group.
Barefoot's the way to go, absolutely. On
As long
safe
as there's no
surfaces.
hazards anywhere.
On safe surfaces.
Yeah.
Safe surfaces, yeah.
That
Ooh,
book,
I'm really sweating today.
that book, Born to Run, was a really, really good book, but it encouraged people to run on roads with bare feet. And it made a lot of money for podiatrists because that was very foolish to do that. But on grass and sand, it's actually very good training for your feet.
We had a doctor, Dr. Vincent Rowe from UCLA, who said he had a patient that was on deck for amputation. And she said, I don't want the amputation. She didn't have any wounds on her feet at the time, but there was nothing more that he could do. Today, he probably has more options, but she has the most durable option. She did what is known as grounding. And so every day she would spend an hour out on sand and grass in careful, safe areas, and she would do grounding. And she is now a year and a half into it, almost 2 years. And she's doing great. She has absolutely no claudication pain in her daily activities. And Dr. Rose says she's really grown some collateral vessels, especially down in the tibials and into the foot.
Yeah, sand on beaches and stuff will really work your feet, especially the soft sand. I mean, you have to do it incrementally. There's a funny noise. Is that my dog?
Is that me? I don't know. I can see everyone's muted, but I'm not sure where the feedback is coming from. We have a little feedback. It's not the type of feedback that Kevin's looking for on his book, but there was a little bit of feedback. In the form of grunting noises, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Josh doesn't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, we don't know where it's coming from. Oh well, so we have some spirits in the background, some walking spirits, and they're just giving you the go.
I'm on mute, but I can't hear any problem whatsoever.
Woo!
Sounds perfect to me.
At least Kevin and Josh and
strange.
Josh are on aren't making me crazy. Yeah.
Anyway, Mike had a question for this session, which was how to get back into training, right, Mike?
Yep.
I mean, there is a solution. It's called discipline.
Yeah, I was actually. It was more of just a bit of advice, really, rather than a question. I was just because I was getting claudication pain when I first got back. I got back last Wednesday and just did normal walks for over the weekend. But then yesterday, I'd like to say I started doing my did the running intervals, and not as much as what I was doing before either. I only did 5 individual 1 minute interval running. And I went on the incline for 10 minutes at a time at a high incline of a number 10. I did that 3 times at the speed of 3.4 miles an hour. and I just the claudication pain was just. It was all right when I was on the treadmill, but then when I went out for a walk in the afternoon, it was walking on the concrete that brought on the claudication pain, and it was getting to the point where I did nearly stop once or twice, and I don't normally do that. I'll normally walk right through. But it got to the point yesterday on Monday where I was like, right, I might need to stop. But I didn't, and like I say, yesterday I just did a normal walk yesterday, and today I've done my big workout again today, and it seemed to be all right on the treadmill, but the weather's not so good today, so I won't be going out for an afternoon walk, unfortunately. So yeah, it was just about getting back into my workout plan really and going forward with it. But like you say, Kevin, discipline is the main thing, isn't it? You've just got to really push yourself forward for it.
But talk us through it. Really, you took a mental hit, and it's easy to get a mental hit when you end up. It's disconcerting, isn't it?
Yeah. It did mess around with my mental health. I spoke to Kym yesterday on the phone, and I feel as though it set me back a little bit. Even though while I was in England, I was still doing 20,000 steps a day plus. I just wasn't working out as much, and I think I just need to get back into it and get back into a routine of doing it as much as I can. I do the treadmill every day, as you know, but it's just bringing myself, getting back to that level that I was at before, to ease the claudication pain out and get out of here. Get out of my head.
When I have a setback like that, or any kind of setback, my mind kind of will take this negative thing and keep going more negative.
Yeah.
You know, instead of saying, oh, well, I'm going to get better, my mind gets stuck on this. I'm going to get worse. It's going to keep on.
Yeah.
And even though I know that's happening, it's hard to stop the brain from tricking me.
It's like the negative thoughts in your mind, isn't it, that take over, the demons, so to speak.
Yeah, Kevin, how do you get over those little demons and get back on the horse?
What helped me most was Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, which with a lot of training allows me to turn my brain off and turn the thoughts off. So if I see them going in a negative direction, I just do the exercises I learned as a result of studying that book for several years, and they just shut up. We have a new person, Sharon Nelson.
Yes, hi, Sharon.
Reminds me of Admiral Nelson, very important in English history.
Very.
She's
Sometimes when she's on mute. And Sharon, you're always welcome to say hello and introduce yourself. We're live. We all learn from each other. You aren't on camera. You're just, even if you are on camera, you're not really on camera publicly, just your voice. No one knows who you are. But we're talking about just overcoming setbacks. And I know Kimmy is struggling with that as well. She has, a couple blockages of the iliac stents, and, they want to do a big bypass on her. And it's so important we found out yesterday from Dr. Lamar Mack that it is possible to grow some collateral vessels through the groin. So you have some of the other arteries, like the inferior mesenteric, that has the ability to actually, once it's done with the organs, he told us that it actually starts feeding the legs a little bit. And even in Douglas's case, it had dilated so much his doctor had said he'd never seen an inferior mesenteric that dilated before, but it was the only thing feeding at one point Douglas's legs.
Yeah,
so
I had a complete blockage of my common iliac, at the intersection of an extension stent into the common iliac, and all I could feel was not being able to lift my leg. I had no pain, I had nothing going on, and I think that was largely due to collaterals keeping it going. And so, they removed it it took them about 30 hours to remove the clot, and then they put another stent inside that stent. to keep the stent open, and I've not had a problem since then. That was in 2017. So, yep, they can work magic with stents, but we still have to keep growing those collaterals and doing the work.
Yep, so important. We're hoping to get a good response from a second opinion today that maybe they could do a little extra roto rooting, try and open up those stents and see if they can do that before just jumping straight into an aorto bifemoral bypass. Those can last 20 to 30 years, but you got to be up for that really big procedure and recovery. It's a lot. And so if you can put it off at all, that's always a good thing. Any procedure, as much as you can, building those collateral vessels is the only 100% durable medicine for P.A.D. And it's amazing how our bodies respond. And I love watching Carrie. I love that she's on the treadmill with me. I miss having Mike on the treadmill with me in the morning or out walking. Usually he's walking to the store, but Douglas was actually sitting there doing his exercises. He's still doing his exercises. Douglas, tell us what you're doing there. Do you see Kevin? He's picking up the towels. He's doing so much better than when he first started. Look at this. He's, for those of you in there on our YouTube channel and social media, Douglas is doing one of the exercises where he picks up a towel with his toes to help build the collateral vessels. And he's doing amazing. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, the main thing that does, I mean, apart from putting off shin splints, is it improves venous return by contracting muscles in your calves, and veins have valves. And so actually flexing your toes that way does improve venous return. And it was that kind of led me down the road of the P.A.D. 100 and using those muscles in my feet. I started first by just flexing my toes about 3-4 years ago, and I noticed it definitely improved the venous return aspect. And then that went on to a maturing into what I'm doing now. Yeah, Doug's doing a good job.
Yeah, look how strong. I mean, he looks like he has a lot of muscle in those legs. He really works hard.
How's the tiny house, Doug? Oh, he's on mute.
Oh, but he can't wait. He's going to unmute because that tiny house, I think all he had to do was a little plumbing and such, right, Douglas? Plumbing and electricity?
No, plumbing is left. That's it. Plumbing is basically all that's left. We got the kitchen sink in and the bedroom's done, the living room, but one wall, a little section, and the plumbing underneath the house.
Oh my God, that's amazing. He's literally done this. For those of you who haven't been following over time, that Douglas literally from one board has literally built this tiny house from the ground up. And it's just absolutely, I mean, incredible. The workmanship. It's awesome. So I can't wait to share.
It's the mental health side of our disease is, and I think Kevin talks about that. It's the mental health side of getting off the couch and being active. I'm not going to sit on the couch all day and just whine and moan because I have P.A.D. and I can't do what I used to do when I was 20. So my house burnt down 3 years ago, lost everything I owned, but I've been managing with my P.A.D., but I decided to build my own tiny house, and that's what I've done for the last year, 2 months, and it's taken that long to get here. But
you also had bypass surgery, Doug, which
and I had 2 bypasses and open heart surgery in between, and I'm still going.
That's the trick. Keep moving.
Yep. How difficult was it for you, Douglas, to get back on the stick, back on the horse and start walking after the myectomy?
Well, if you remember, I have a video of me 3 days after coming out of ICU with paper plates on the floor in the hospital bed, and I was moving my feet back and forth on the paper plates, and the nurses kept, why are you ringing me? Why? I need to get up and walk. I need to get up and walk. And like I spent 42 days in the hospital after my open heart surgery. but I kept going.
That's
I
the
think
truth.
that's just the whole point is we got to keep going. You want to save your life and your limb, get off the couch, get out of the recliner, and walk. And walk, walk, walk.
Yeah, you got to
Yep.
live, and you got to have something to live for.
Yep. There's a lot that goes through your mind when you have that open heart surgery, right, Kevin and Douglas, that, you know, you get this new lease on life. And you're like, yeah, I'm just going to keep getting up every day. I'm thankful I'm alive. And I am going to walk. I'm going to walk to live to walk. I
And
think that's so important.
3 days after my open heart surgery, my defibrillator went off 3 times
Oh,
in 10
no.
minutes. And that was an experience. If you have not had that experience, that was an experience. It was something else. And it's a reminder. And I'm in recovery also, so I got 40-something years clean and sober. And it's a reminder that just because I have a disease, we have a disease, doesn't mean we can't keep living. Every time I walk into my tiny house, it reminds me, look what you can do, not what you can't do.
Yeah.
Look at what you can do, not what you can't do.
It's interesting. I have to give a presentation in a great event by Asahi, which is a device maker. Particularly, they have really great wires. We had a guy from Tokyo, Japan, who is known as one of the best CTO crossers, 100% blockage crossers in the legs. Everyone says he's just a wire warrior. And he was talking a lot about the Asahi wires. But anyway, it's an event in Memphis next week with female vascular surgeons, wire warrior princesses. And the topic is the cringe. And it's those moments, you know, where you have to push through that discomfort, right, to create the change that you want to see. And so I'm sharing, you know, my philosophy that started when I was 14 years old, where I wanted a job at the theater, but they said you had to be 15 years old. My dad sat me down and he said, you know, don't look at what you can't do. Look at what you can do. Look at what you do bring to the table. And they ended up filing special county papers to give me the job a year earlier than law told them could happen. So we had special circumstances to let me work because of what I was able to bring to the table. I'd never worked in a regular theater, but I took my experience volunteering, my babysitting experience, and as a sports trainer for the athletes in my high school, first aid and such, my dad sat me down and made me look at what are the skills that you learned through those jobs and those volunteer experiences that you could actually bring to the table and benefit the theater. And I got the job, but I've carried that philosophy through my entire life to the point where I'm in healthcare and still every day, doctors say to me, why the hell are you here? You don't belong here. You're not a doctor. You know, get out of here. Leave the medicine to us. And, you know, but we've saved more than 1,400 patients from amputation. Not being a doctor, just bringing that outside perspective. You know, Sir Richard Branson said to me at one point during an interview, he said, don't let what you don't know and have never done before get in the way of doing something great. Sometimes it's what you don't know that could create the greatest advantage and disruption in any industry. So just say yes and figure out how to get it done. And I think that's the same with what we're all doing here, right? You just got to say yes and figure out how to get it done. Focus on what you can do. Focus on what you can bring to the table. Create new ways to make it happen for you. Pave a new path. Just because there isn't any evidence out there for what Kevin is saying, you know, by universities and big time researchers, doesn't mean it doesn't work. He's actually creating an advantage for every single one of you who is joining in today with his very unique perspective. And it's been proven for him. It's been proven for Mike. It's been proven for Douglas. I don't know about Carl. Carl's a whole other boatload of cherries. Hi, Carl.
But
Hi. Am
Welcome.
I late?
Yes.
You're always late to the party. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, the
It's so
time
good to have
changed.
you.
The time didn't
Okay.
change where I am right now, so I kind of missed that.
That's okay. You're always early. I wondered where you were.
Yeah, no, it works for me. It's very impressive. Um, lifting and spreading the toes in the middle of the stride, it does have a pretty remarkable release on the foot, but also the rest of the leg and the hips. I noticed that. It's very profound, actually.
Cool. And we have a comment. Gary the Holiest. We got to get Gary the Holiest to join us in studio. Gary, email us at info at padhelp.org. We're going to get you in here. I love you. You ask such great questions and provide such great comments. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe my producer, Josh, might say, wait, let's not lose him on YouTube. He's so great. He actually put a comment up and he says, Kevin, I put 25-pound weights on top of my toes and raised my toes to the air. I'm standing and wearing shoes, of course. What do you think?
He's going to have a very strong tibialis anterior, is what I think.
What does that mean?
Well,
So
that's
the
what
anterior tibial?
he's lifting the weight with his toes. That uses this muscle on the front of your shin. You can feel it contract. And so, yeah, that's what I think. But it seems a very odd thing to do. 25-pound weights on his toes. Yeah, that's a little odd. But then, okay, whatever turns you on.
If that works for you.
If it
That,
helps, it really does the trick.
yeah,
Then you've got to explore your own body. You must
yeah,
never, ever listen to your doctor blindly. You
yeah,
can't take what they say on faith. I would be long dead if I'd listened to doctors in the past. And so I would say it doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean they don't know their stuff, but they don't know everything. So you have to be your own doctor, and your doctor and surgeon are just tools in your toolbox. And you
yeah,
have to, if you want to use tools wisely, you have to understand those tools and their limitations. You can't use a saw as a hammer. And so it's actually a pretty good metaphor. And so you personally, I mean, my website is called Inspirational Self-Help Books for a reason. It's about self-help. It's about doing what you can when physicians have done everything they can, and they've saved my
yeah,
life multiple times. But you have to take responsibility, but you can't do it on your own. You need inspiration from others. So that's basically my approach. Well, beware. Somewhere in the world, as a comedian once said on the radio, is someone is going in today to see the worst doctor in the world. So if you, I mean, they must exist. And
well,
so I've
you know,
rejected.
everyone gts the title of doctor, whether they get an A or a C.
That's right. And I've left doctors' offices because I strongly disagree with what they had to say. One wanted to put statins in the drinking water. I said, well, thanks for your time, and left. I mean, this is just blatant stupidity. And so, there we are. Just don't. I mean, doctors are great, and they have a hard job. But you got to remember, your PCP sits there all day long seeing different patients. They're not researchers. You have to research your situation and then challenge your PCP if you have a chance on certain questions. And you can do as much for education of the average doctor as they can do for you. You're a team, but you have to do the work. And don't forget, you have one condition. Your PCP has to deal with all of them. And so you should know yours better than the PCP.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I mean, it's all about, and this is the presentation I'm giving. It's I'm encouraging the female vascular surgeons to overcome the cringe, start asking the questions, not relying upon, other physicians' evidence, because you don't know when those doctors that participated in a study, let's say in 2013, have the same skill set as you do today, and yet you're relying upon evidence from 2013 that says treating below the knee can't and shouldn't be done. But you have a different set of skills today. You have a different set of tools. So what if you stopped and you asked the questions, draw upon your own experiences, your own logic, what you have in front of you, pave a new path for patients? There's still no cure. And that's where you guys have the opportunity as part of, showing up for these seminars every week. I think we're paving a new path, thanks to having Kevin with us. We really appreciate all the work, Kevin, you've been doing for years and really helping all of us. I mean, myself included. I mean, today I'm doing 4.5 miles per hour, which is a lot for me. I'm sweating everywhere. I regret putting on eyelashes this morning because they're melting off. I'm sweating, but I'm going 60 minutes. I have no hip pain and I have no knee pain, which is really new for me. And I haven't had it once, through this entire hour. So what my experience is, those methods that you've developed not only work for you, but they worked for me. And I say they work for Kevin, for Mike, for Douglas, Carl. And oh, wait. I just noticed something. Marilyn is here. The peanut gallery showed up.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, Marilyn.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Kevin. You're looking pretty good. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm making really good progress. My problem with congestion in my lungs is slowly receding. I'm increasing my distance slowly up to about 2 miles of walking in one go or a couple. My pulse is gradually coming down. I see a cardiologist next week, and I will listen to him and assess his value. But he was actually the physician who was in the cath lab, and he showed me in the cath lab. I forget his name now, but I'll meet him next week. And Sue really trusted him. My girlfriend, who is cardiac intensive care and cardiac rehab nurse. He pointed out that my right heart was living 100% on collaterals. The coronary arteries were completely blocked, no way to get a stent in there. Yet my right heart was still functioning because of my years of training. I've been doing Ironman for 25 years, and I grew collaterals in my right heart and kept it going and didn't even know it was. And he showed this on the screen as this network of collateral blood vessels from training. So basically, P.A.D. may start in your feet, but you also get P.A.D. in your heart. And I also have my coronaries checked, and there's a little bit of occlusion in one of my coronaries, but it's not significant right now. And so gradually it seems to creep up your body to your head. And so I look forward to meeting the guy, but it's quite remarkable that my entire right heart was living on collaterals grown through training. That actually surprised me.
That is remarkable. Thank you. I'm glad you're doing so well.
Oh, thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah, and Marilyn actually took a few extra steps for her health. She's from Canada, and we were able to. I still haven't gotten a bill, Marilyn. So that was really kind of the doctor in our network that I think ended up just did he give you a little peace in mind? He did it pro bono, and he offered her a consult and ultrasound.
And
what were his directives?
To come back in a month. So I have an appointment it's actually going to be 5 weeks, but I have an appointment to go back. But I'm still having the same symptoms. I'm off my statin now. I've been off it. Well, I went off the ezetimibe first, at the beginning of January, and then I went off my statin about a week ago. So I'm going to see. Again, it's just the pain in my calves when I press into them, or if I down on my toes or bend my toes upwards. But it's nothing. It's not. I don't think it's got anything to do with claudication, because it's not. I don't think it's affecting me that way. It's more the muscle. But I don't I guess I don't know, Kym. I don't know. But I'm happy. I'm happy that he was able to do the diagnostics, so at least I know where I'm at, and we'll see what he says in a few weeks. And I ordered a whole bunch of blood work for myself on LabCorp.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I wonder if doing some of the PAD 100 exercises, some toe yoga, and Kevin, what's the other one? Toe yoga, PAD 100. Am I missing
I
one?
do those already. I do those.
You have to incorporate whole body training and low impact movement and all that stuff. I mean, it's not just working on your feet. It's that's part of the whole package.
Right.
We have another new one coming in today. We have Michael. Michael is joining us as well. Hi, Michael. Good to have. We love having new people join. We have such a great group today. This is a lot of fun. And Carrie had to jump off though. Carrie says she really enjoyed it here, and she is going to go take a look at all your resources, Kevin. So that's pretty good.
Kym, can I ask you
Yes.
something here?
Uh-oh. Am I in
Carl.
trouble?
No, no, no.
I see.
No, hopefully not. This really ties in with some of the stuff Kevin was just saying, but also you've mentioned this in the past a few times. So Kevin was saying that, you know, the PAD can work its way up through the body. And you have mentioned a number of times a statistic that, and I don't know if I have the number right, it's in my head, but something like 3 out of 5 people that have PAD either have or go on to have coronary artery disease. Is
3 in
that,
5 people who have a heart attack, 3 in 5 people who have a heart attack will have PAD, and many don't even know it.
Right. So in interacting with my primary care, and then also maybe Greg at Swedish, is that a published statistic in a study, or is that, I mean, I'm not doubting it. I'm just wondering how I can present it as a useful consideration, because you know, like I've mentioned in the past, I've only had stethoscopic examination of my heart in my carotids, and given what happened with Kevin, it seems like my inclination to want to know, to have clearer information about the heart and the carotids, you know, bears.
Yeah, the CDC website has it, so I'm just trying to find.
The EKG, which you can have with your regular PCP, I went there. I mean, we're about 7 weeks ago. I mean, the whole story's in my newsletter. I've been expecting this for 50 years because of my dyslipidemia. But the first real clue that something cardiac was going on was getting that EKG. And so my physician referred me to a cardiologist who was supposed to call me the next day.
Right.
Instead of calling me, the snow came down and everything closed. And I think if I'd seen him, he probably would have referred me to the cath lab right then. But otherwise, instead of that, a pachyderm sat on my chest, and that woke me up, and everything changed from there. But the snow closed everything down, including on the Monday. So an EKG is worth having. So if you have any kind of symptoms of cardiovascular stress, I never had the effects in my left arm, but I noticed a loss of cardiovascular strength on the bike and other minor things which were kind of elusive. Actually, it was very, very vague, but the EKG said something needs to be done, and that was just done in my physician's office within a few minutes.
Good to know. Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to find that stat. It says it's through the CDC's website. I'm trying to find the actual citation.
Yeah, that'd be great, because the PCP now has, you know, a big monitor. They come into the room with you and they're on the monitor and they're doing their session notes while you're being examined. So he can easily pull up a citation if I can give it to him, and see that the prevalence of this is not an imaginary thing. And, it's not just like personal worry. There's real reason to stay ahead of the car crash on this one.
Well, it's a systemic vascular threat. I mean, it's atherosclerosis. There's no reason it wouldn't attack any vessels in your body. It just happens to go lower limb first, or we notice it there first because functionally that's most noticeable. I mean, I didn't notice my heart was a problem. It was working fine for, all those years. But my feet started to give me problems. But if I'd noticed any stress in my heart, which came a lot later, like 14 years later, but it was actually very advanced at that point. So, yeah, it's I think for people with PAD, coronary, and also carotid artery are always a threat. You must always consider that a threat if you have systemic athero and arteriosclerosis.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me. Yeah, that just makes total sense. And I'm surprised that I get pushback. I've gotten pushback on looking further. Even
Well,
Greg Hayes wasn't even sort of eager to look any further. So
he'll do it though for you.
Yeah.
He'll he'll order a test for you. Just say you're increasing your walking, you're a little bit more short of breath than you would like at the higher thing. The only problem is, so yesterday I went to the cardiologist, and because we have a family history, and I was diagnosed after my mom unfortunately transitioned unexpectedly from a abdominal aneurysm. I'm slightly dilated in my thoracic, and so they do keep a watch on me. But I was mentioning to him 3 years ago, I think it was 2024, that I was having some shortness of breath, upon exertion, upon, moving. It could be the asthma. I'm not sure. And I went and took this VO2 test, and it was just, pardon me, I apologize to everybody else out there, but I just feel like it was stupid. And he told me my results were, well, for your age, you're just average. And I'm like, well, I shouldn't be average. I work out every single day. He's like, well, maybe you're just not pushing it. Maybe you need to push it harder to get, stairs are really the hardest thing for you to do, and, to get the cardiac. So maybe you should be doing more of that. And I'm like, I literally get my whole chest literally tightens up, and it's like a deep can't breathe. And it could be the asthma, but then they say, oh, well, I can't hear any buzzing in there. So suddenly I'm normal. And he did this to me again yesterday. He's like, well, let's just put you back on the VO2 thing again. I'm like, that VO2 thing sucks. You can't tell. He's like, well, I just think maybe you just need to up your cardio and start working out more. I'm like, I already do this an hour a day, and I can't do more than what I'm doing because I will get that constricting in my chest. And so he's like, okay, well, if you're happy, I'll just put in a whole array of tests. We'll do a 250 6-slice CT scan, and we'll do a abdominal ultrasound, and we'll do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, that's not really the point. The point is, because the doctor can order all those tests for you, but if they're dismissive during the appointment, you're not going to do anything. And that's what happened. He asked me why I never followed suit with my pulmonary doctor 1 year ago. And it's because he told me he didn't think I had asthma. And if someone's going to dismiss me like that, even though I have been diagnosed with it before and I've had successful treatments for it, you change insurance is the problem. You end up with a different set of doctors, and you can't get your old treatments back. You're not going to follow through with anything. So I think that there's something to be said, because I'm even, I violate it every day. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to do the things you ask me to do unless you actually hear me and I feel like you care. You can throw a whole bunch of tests at me and I'm just not going to do them. I'm just going to home and suffer. So I feel you guys. And the thing is, they don't understand for you, Carl, and for any of you, is you're going to sit here, and I think Douglas would even agree. You're going to sit home. You're not going to be able to walk. You can't breathe. You're feeling the crap going down your arm, and you're not going to go to the emergency room. And we had one of our friends in the group, Lisa, that's what happened to her sister. She was so tired of her symptoms being brushed off by the doctor that when she finally literally was on the verge of a heart attack, where symptoms finally built out, she was like, I'm just not going to go, and she died.
But she just went to bed and never woke up. I heard that
No,
story.
she dropped. Yeah.
It was terrible.
And
So
that's why we all have to become the best advocate, because listening to these stories, all our stories are different. I was on the operating table going into an operation to have a stent put in Houston, and I had a stroke on the table in the hallway going into the operating room for my P.A.D. Ended up at a hospital. They shipped me across town to a hospital in Houston, and I remember being wheeled into the room and the doctor coming in, and 10 minutes later, he coming back and said, we got to put a defibrillator in. You're having open heart surgery. And it was like, time out. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? Because my P.A.D. doctors I'd never heard that before. And it wasn't until that moment, in 2 weeks later, I was diagnosed with atypical hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And 3 weeks later, I had open heart. I had a myectomy. They went in and shaved the whole left side of my heart. But I never thought about this. I thought I was shortness of breath, my left arm, and all that was just due to my P.A.D. But none of my doctors said anything about, well, let's check your heart. Let's check this. So it wasn't until I had a stroke on the table going into an operating, no, a procedure, that all this came about. And that's why, yes, we have to become, if we know that with PAD, we need to talk to our doctors about having that stuff checked. Yes, absolutely. Just so we'll know. I'd rather know yes or no. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
I thank God for Kym, because right now they're checking all of that for me. I just had a heart cath, and now I'm going for EKG on Friday. No, I'm going for a
echocardiogram
on Friday. So I thank God for you.
Oh yeah, that's
I
interesting.
mean, there's something to be said for peace of
Echocardiogram.
mind.
I enjoyed that actually. I got to see all the inside of my heart and how it was designed on the ultrasound. You know, it was pretty neat. And the girl who did it really knew her stuff. It took about half an hour. It was pretty good, but the real final answer came from the cath lab.
I had an ECG while I was back in England because I was complaining about having a little bit of ache in my left arm. It just every now and again it feels like it's like cold water being tipped down me top of my arm here. So the doctor did an ECG. Well, he ordered an ECG with the practice nurse. And when I went for it a couple of days later, I was surprised how much technology's moved on now from when I used to work in the emergency room. She clipped the things on my chest on the stickers and on my arms and legs, but it wasn't connected to anything. And I said, well, how are you getting the ECG? She said, oh, it's done by Bluetooth. So it was a Bluetooth EKG, and she was just printed it off her computer. It sent it to the computer, and I was just like, this is crazy now. This is when I used to perform ECGs on patients when I worked in the emergency room. It was a whole big machine at the side. It had the wires coming off it, and it just connected to the machine. But to see it with no linkage to anything, I was like, this is mad. Bluetooth ECG. Yeah.
Yeah. One of someone PT 103. Hi, welcome back. We haven't seen PT 103 in a while from YouTube. What about a CCTA? I think that's what I'm actually. That's the angio of your heart. I think that's what they also set me up for actually. And it's a really good scan. I always prefer a PET scan. PET scan is really the most accurate, but it's the most accurate when and when you have stents already in your heart. but it should be okay if you don't have any stents in there. It should give you a really good, accurate reading, and it's worth asking. But you know, doctors don't like, and I understand this, they don't want to do unnecessary imaging and subject you to the radiation and that kind of thing if they don't need to. You know, you want to make sure the symptoms match the imaging, which is important. But it was really a fun conversation. I'm so glad that everyone joined us. I don't know if anyone has any other questions, but we
I
are
have a
way
comment.
over
Kim, I have a
time.
comment. I have a
Sure.
comment. I noticed since I have my cabbage that I've learned to not talk to people about my health. They don't want to hear it. You want to have a life and forget your health. If you need to talk to your doctor or your spouse and stuff like that, but it's very easy to start talking about it because it's such a big deal in your life. And so I stopped doing that and became a regular person again. So I think you have to moderate talk about your health, even though it's such a big deal to us. And so that's just a thought to from an Asperger's person who's socially inept.
Well, that's why it's
It's
good
a
to have
good
a
thought.
space like this to come to. Because
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. And I'm glad so many, and thank you to everybody who showed up today. We had quite a great group of people. You can stick around even after we end our live broadcast. If you are watching live, make sure you do join our live studio audience. Come to say hello. Just email us at info@padhelp.org. But don't forget, like the video, subscribe to our channel at The Way to My Heart, and also Kevin's channel at Fit Old Dog, and go to inspirationalselfhelpbooks.com and click on the audiobook for his new training for P.A.D. because he wants the feedback. So send it on in. Thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great week.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Kim,
And thanks, Josh.